Right. S-A. All right. So, let's see. I just want to, un momento. I need to check to see our other platform is working. Is okay. We're live. Great. Beautiful. Fantastic. So all systems are working. No dramas. Thank God. Well, welcome to the 5D Academy of Higher Consciousness. I'm your host, Zarathustra. Those of you who are viewing this broadcast from Instagram, I'm still trying to set up my office space. So anyway, I'm not going to be looking at the camera this direction. So I'm going to be looking this way because of the Zoom, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So I just want to welcome all of my friends from all over the world. And we are going to talk about shamanism today. That's the topic of the day, since also some people have been contacting me, asking me questions regarding shamanism, and also the upcoming retreat in February 4th to 12th with my old friend, brother Baram G. So people have been asking me, what is shamanism? What is a shaman? Can everybody become a shaman? How does it work? And all kinds of good questions. So we're going to get into that and talk about it. So before I start, how are you all doing? Anybody has any special question or anything on mind that wants to share with me before I begin? Hi, Shadi, how are you? Nice to see you. Welcome back. I see some highlight actions. Cool. So let me see. I need to check to see I'm not muted. All right, I'm not muted. And you can hear me just fine? Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. So, basically, shamanism, it's been around ever since ever since. So as long as human beings existed on the planet, also shamanism had existed. So a lot of people think that maybe shamanism has something to do with religion. And if they're doing some religious practice, that's going to have a conflict with shamanic practice. So we're going to put some light on this and clear some stuff for our friends. So it will help you not to be confused and be more clear and have a better understanding. What is a shaman? Who's a shaman? What is shamanism? Can you practice it? Can you learn to do shamanic work? And et cetera, et cetera. And we're going to get into it. The word shaman is it's a Siberian word. And in essence, I mean, shaman has a lot of different meanings. But in essence, is the one who's consumed by fire. So generally, when we're referring to the shaman, that's what we mean. one who's been consumed by the fire. So, having said that, and there are different meanings to shamanism. The basically, when you begin to enter into the world of the shaman, there is those who practice shamanism and they're authentic, they have discovered that the shaman is one who has been able to create a bridge in between the physical world and the spirit world. So, how is that possible? How do we do that? To creating a bridge between the physical world and the spiritual world, and to derive messages and be able to connect to a broader universe, a broader way of looking at things rather than just a physical world, which is basically being conducted by the mind. Like the mind comes and says, well, how is that possible? How can you know this? Or how do you know that you need to do this and you need to do that, and whatever you're doing works? But you also must understand that the there's a big number of people all over the planet that they're sleepy and they're in deep sleep, and they believe that, first of all, they never question that if there is the spirit, if there is God, if what is the meaning of life, why are we here, where are we going to after this, or where were we before we were born? So these questions don't arise for them. And if you talk to these people, basically everything is about the worldly stuff. Getting an education, starting a business, making as much money as possible. It's basically they're viewing life and their life as being successful in the physical world. And they don't question anything outside of that until something happens and some kind of awakening takes place. And then it forces the person to go beyond their very limited perspective of life. So, on that note, I'm wondering, like, how many of you know of a grandmother or a grandfather, or you know of any of your ancestors who have been practicing shamanism? Anybody? No one? So I assure you that if you dig deeper, you're going to find someone in your family way back or in time, while ago, before the world changed and became super mindy, have practiced shamanism at one point, some sort of shamanism. Because there's a lot of different styles of shamanic practice. It's just not one way. So many different ways. And a modern shaman could be a medicine woman. It could be an herbalist. It could be a therapist or a diviner, or doing soul retrievals, or guiding people who are dying to let loose of their ideas and helping them to go through transition to the other side. So the the modern shaman doesn't necessarily have to be wearing, feathers and all kinds of jewelry and crystals and using rattles or stuff like that. Um, it appears, it can show up in many different ways. So, and those of you here on the Zoom from the Academy, I know you all have been practicing it, and we've been together, we've done different things. So the the shamanic methods that basically we are planning on using in our retreat is a series of different activations in sacred sites. And it's basically designed that helping you to be able to go beyond your thinking mind and diving into this other ancient part of you, which is already there. The part of you, excuse me, it's just, the is as you get activated, as you're changing your vibrations and you're gradually moving to a higher frequency, what happens is memories of your shamanic memories begin to reveal themselves. Suddenly you begin to understand and know things that you had no idea about, or you didn't think you had certain skills, but they can appear out of nowhere. So it doesn't follow a logical pattern as we're thinking that shamanic practice or a shaman or becoming a shaman or tapping into our shamanic understanding and skills. It has to be followed by years of certain kind of practices and rituals. And it could be that way, it's possible, but it's not necessarily so. The information could be revealed, or in a way we can talk about downloading the information, and that can easily happen. The key is that with anything in life, to create an environment that's conducive into certain kind of developing certain kind of skills, and also remembering your ancient memories, remembering the skills that they've been ingrained from the time we were born into our psyche. Things like, let's say somebody may become a very good tennis player or pianist or ballerina, and it's just, how does this happen? How do you all of a sudden develop certain skills or certain desire to follow a path, and then you're really good at it and you get so much better? Also shamanism follows the same sort of pattern, that it's there. It's there. It just needs to be discovered. It's a discovery. That putting ourselves in an environment that is supporting this kind of skills, and then they start to appear. Now, shamanic abilities, they're just not limited to one certain or a couple different kind of ways. Shamanic abilities, it could be different stuff. I mean, you can develop healing abilities and you become a healer, or you can eventually develop remote seeing, so you can see things from from a much higher perspective. And like in the old days, like in Amazons or in Africa or different parts of the world, let's say the Brazilian and Peruvian shamans, the shaman of the tribe maybe would use ayahuasca medicine, ayahuasca tea, and to drink that. And then the shaman would pop out of his hair body and would have an opportunity to be able to travel and to get out of their body, to have an out of body experience, and to be able to look and, okay, here's the tribe, here's a few villages, and you have your tribe, and your tribe wants to go hunting. And they don't know, because back in the day, of course, you couldn't get in a helicopter or a plane to go fly around and to find out where is the game, where can I go hunting. So the shaman, at times, through some rituals and practices, they would drink let's say ayahuasca tea, for instance, because it's very common in that area. Of course, it's becoming very known all over the world, but or the shaman was able to activate his or her third eye and pop out of their body, having a remote viewing, or be able to do out of body travel, and then start to see, oh, okay, the tribe needs to go in that direction. We need to go that way because that's where the hunt is. And Native Americans done that. You know, there's a lot of different tribes that their shaman would do certain rituals to find out where the tribe needs to go in order to look for food, or doing some kind of shamanic ritual in order to heal somebody, or getting fever out of someone, or getting the disease out of someone. This has been going on for thousands of years. We just lost our way, and because of the modern society, the way everything is, the way we've been conditioned, and yeah, our new conditioning that these kind of things are bullshit. It's non-existing, it's bullshit, it's not logical, it doesn't make sense, there's no scientific proofs of it, therefore it doesn't exist. But that's really far away from the truth of what is. Far, far away. I have a message here. Let me read in our chat box from one of our new visitors. Okay, I think my mother's aunt was kind of minister. She prayed for people to get their wishes fulfilled. She lived to 98 years old, bless her heart. I had privileges to meet her. She was illuminated in face and very lovely woman. Is she also count as a shaman? Right. Well, yeah, thank you. I appreciate. Yeah, hi, Masume. I hope you don't mind me mentioning your name. You're welcome to unmute yourself and talk to me directly. Do you want to do that? If you want to talk directly.
Hi, this is Masume.
Yes, hi. Hi, nice having you.
I'm calling from Sweden.
Okay. Yeah, hur mår du?
Jag mår bra, tack. Hur mår du själv?
Bra, bra. So you have a Persian first name with a Swedish last name?
Yes, yes.
Right.
Because I am originally from Iran.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And my ex-husband, he is Swedish. He was Swedish.
Okay, far out. Well, welcome on our at the 5D Academy, and go ahead. I'd like to hear your input. You mentioned something about um, your mother's aunt. So tell me a little bit.
Yes, she was very what kinds a very kind woman, but we feel she has some kind of ability to heal people through the just by what's that reading from books like Quran.
Right.
And she could help people through just reading with voice.
Yes.
And I thought it must be some kind of shamanism in this situation, as you talked about, because I'm also very interested of energy. But I try to search in internet about this kind of energy in 5D.
Right.
That the frequency is increasing now when we are in 5D, and I wanted to know how we know that we are in 5D, just because we are shining in face, in happiness. Sometimes is good, we are happy, and sometimes we are not happy. And sometimes when we are happy, we can expand our energy to people around and make them also in motion in their life. They feel happy.
Right.
Is this kind of manifesting or shamanist energy that we all of us, just not not one special persons.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So, are you finished,
If
or
we can,
go ahead? I'm listening.
Yes, if we can change our energy to be even better, to help ourselves and others people better, because I tried to search internet and I found a Reiki healing, and these courses, it was not so expensive for me. I could afford to buy
Right.
that course and took that course, and I felt it's something more. I need to increase my ability, because Reiki, it was the first I engaged
Mm-hmm.
in it and wanted to go more in, because of just I thought I have this ability.
Right. Yeah. Well, number one is that you trust in your abilities. You trust that you're on the right path and you're guided.
Okay.
So that's you need to fall back on that. So your mind, your thoughts come and tell you you're not doing enough, you're not good enough, you need more, and or you're not worthy enough to advance to a higher level of consciousness and learn more. So you need to identify these thoughts and not give them any energy, because an understanding that there is something within you, there's a force, there's a voice, there's a being that is guiding you, and is guiding you, has brought you here today, and you're hearing what I'm saying because of that. Something brought you here, right?
Yes, of course.
Right. So
yes.
yeah, you just Yeah. So because you can do a million different things right now, more exciting or whatever appears to be more exciting, but for some reason you are pulled to this and you're here right now. So the question is how did you end up here? What brought you here?
I think it was you talked about the 5D in the beginning.
Right.
When I was very fascinated about this energy. I didn't know at all what was 5D.
Right. Right.
And then I searched and I was in your class. And then with the time, I think it was last year, I started to come use your classes, but not continuously.
I see.
And, yes. And sometimes because I had other things to do also, and I wanted just not to focus in a spiritual world because I have a physical world to live also. But at the same time, I love to be in the spiritual world and know it even more.
I get it.
Because
I get it.
It was, yes.
I get it.
Yes.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Does anybody hear me on Instagram? Can somebody send me a message? Because someone sent me a message that there's no audio on Instagram. So I'm just checking to see. Anyone can just send me a message? I don't know, because I don't see like if we mute it on my phone, because I'm broadcasting on Instagram from the phone. But anyway, so let's come back to what we're talking about, this topic. There's two different things we talked about. You brought up something about shamanism, that you are interested and you're developing some kind of skills and you have an interest, and you mentioned about the 5D. And then you mentioned that something in relation to being happy and happiness, and whether that happiness is 5D or not, right? I'm just repeating what you said.
Yes, that is right.
Okay. So let's understand what 5D is first. So people talk about, I want to be in 5D, I want to raise my consciousness to fifth dimensional consciousness, as if I can have my life the way it is, and I can have my house, I can have my Tesla and 2 other cars and 3 other homes and blah, 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 blah. And also in the meantime, reach fifth dimensional consciousness, and I am going to be happy and everything is going to go my way all the time. That's the general idea of, if I reach the fifth dimensional consciousness, everything is going to be working for me. And that is not true, because reaching fifth dimensional consciousness, you have to give up something. So we cannot hang on to our old ways and ideas, and also go through a metamorphosis, which is the death of the ego, the death of the illusion of separation, and enter into 5D. Because fifth dimensional consciousness, it's basically a unified field. It's a place. It's maybe a state or place, a space of understanding, a place that we come to a certain kind of understanding. And in that certain kind of understanding, some things are given up. Okay? You're here with me so far?
Yes, yes.
All right, cool. So, what we give up into this understanding is the ego, our ego. And what is our ego? Our ego is this sense of separation, this mechanism which seems to be in our head, is thinking, and it views itself separated from everything else. So when we talk about I want to reach 5D consciousness, it as if it's a personal gain, as if it's an accomplishment for the person. The person reached fifth dimensional consciousness. And now I got my trophy. Hey, I reached fifth dimensional consciousness. But that's not how it works. There is no I in that consciousness. There is no more a sense of separation, because I have reached and emerged into fifth dimensional consciousness. Means it's a consciousness of oneness. There's only one. So it's not like I reach it and I can say, hooray, I'm here. No, there's no more me claiming I'm here. It's in the dissolution of the me, because I've entered into the oneness. Does this make any sense to you, Masuman? Or just give you a little bit of idea?
I'm trying to understand, melt this information a little bit heavy, especially in the around the ego, because the ego is different for everybody, and the ego is something like is hinder our desire to come true. And this I think I need to more know about what is my ego. That is
well, basically your ego, it's a thought that you are a person, Masume, and she is separated from everything else. Alone in this world, she has to find her way home. That's the ego. Ego thinks that you're separated and you need to find your way back home. So once the ego starts to diminishes, you go beyond this thought, this way of thinking, this belief system, and this way of sensing. It's a feel of sensing you're separated. And this sensation begins to go away. The ego starts to disappear. And that is also a big part of shamanic practice. By starting to understand a broader perspective, starting to understand shamans, true shamans, they're not separated from anything. They're not separated from the nature. They're not separated from their dream world. They're not separated from the physical world. They begin to understand that it's all the oneness. So the ego begin to dissolve and disappear. You cannot have an ego and a sense of I am separated from everything else and enter into 5D. Such thing doesn't exist. It's impossible. Because fifth dimension is a unified field of oneness. It's a unified field of love. It's a field that does not have duality in it. There is no separation. So, what does this mean? If I enter into fifth dimension and I merge into the divine consciousness, I become one with God. Theoretically, we're talking about, not that we're separated anyway. But now, Zarathustra as an individual begin to disappear into the one, into the oneness. Now, that doesn't mean physically I'm disappearing. There is still an appearance of a physical body which is separated from other bodies. But the consciousness merges into the oneness. Now, let's say, for the sake of the conversation, I have merged into the 5D consciousness. Means that there is no more Zarathustra as an individual. Zarathustra is in oneness. So now how is that going to work in practical world? Okay, I reached 5D consciousness, but I still have to pay my rent or mortgage. If I have car payment, I have to pay my car payment. If I drive my car or motorcycle to the gas station, I have to put gas into the tank and I have to pay for it. If I'm going to travel and go somewhere, I have to buy a ticket, airline ticket. I need my passport. The airline does not care that my consciousness has merged into the oneness. They want me to buy a ticket to fly. I have to pay my water bill, internet bill, all kinds of health insurance bill. All these things require a physical function in the world to take care of. Okay, are you there, my friend?
Yes.
Yeah, great. So I'm kind of addressing what you brought up, and I'm putting some light on it to help you understand. Hopefully it will help you to get a better idea. Entering into the spiritual world doesn't mean you're giving up the physical world, and you are going to be sitting like this in meditation 16 hours a day, and you're not going to be doing anything else. It has happened for a few saints in our history, but that's rare. The rest of the people who come to an awakening or had come to an awakening, and they're not ascetics, they're not monks, they're not sitting meditating 18 hours a day in a monastery. They work, they have their kids, they function in the world, maybe they run a company, maybe they're an employee, they still have to go pick up their kids from school and bring them home, feed them, make money, pay their bills, and do their human duties. Shamanic practice merges these two, bridges these two worlds together, and gives us an understanding, because we begin to look at everything from a broader perspective. And what happens in shamanic work is we begin to see the spirit's work, how spirit is functioning, into how the presence of the spirit in everything, the living presence of the spirit. Now, I want to give you another example. Okay? So, what is making, when it's windy, so one day it's really windy. What is this wind? It's shaking the trees, it's shaking the windows. You can hear it. You can hear its noise. It's really windy. The waves are going up and down. So what is this wind? Anybody?
Energy.
Energy, yes. Spirit, the living spirit. This entire planet is full of vegetations. It's got birds, it's got bugs, it's got animals, it's got fish, humans, it's got all bacteria, it's got all kinds of things that they're alive. Even the planet, which is like a ball, is alive. When we're having a volcano, we're having a hurricane, these are all the living spirit. There is a spirit that is living and shaking the earth, creating earthquake, creating volcanic activities, wind, hurricane, all kinds of different things. Some things are moving things. It's not happening mechanically. Something's alive. And we're a part of that. We're not separated. The problem is with human beings, we're so... Okay, somebody says no sound. Just one moment, I want to go to my Instagram and see what is going on here. Just 1 second, my friends. I don't know. Can you guys hear my voice? And let's see, I'm gonna go to this. Oh yeah, there's, I don't know. Hi Artie, are you there? Anyway, I don't know, because my phone shows that my speaker is not muted, so I don't know. Okay, maybe some people are not hearing it. I don't know what the deal is, but we'll deal with this later. We are not separated from everything. But because of this limited and conditioned way of thinking, that it got deviated from connection with the nature, has created this illusion, this way of thinking that we're separated. So look, the way we live. We live in apartment buildings, in these cubic little places, tight, small, in the middle of the city. Everything's concrete, a lot of electrical wires running around, cars, sirens of all kinds of sorts, and especially the way our lives have shaped. We're separated from our family, and we have come to this place of being alone in a box. And a lot of majority of people on the planet, they have very little interaction with the nature. Now, especially now, just diving into our computer all day long, working in front of a computer like a robot, completely robotic way of being, disconnected into this connection with the screen, not being in the nature. We're not growing food. We're not in touch with animals. We have lost our connection to the cycle of life, and everything's become packaged. Our food is packaged, it's available. You don't do anything to grow it, to hunt, to gather food. Everything is delivered to you. And these days, you don't even need to leave your home. Amazon Fresh will deliver your food to your doorstep. So you don't even need to talk to other human beings. You're just isolated. Because of the way and direction that it seems the world is going, naturally it creates this illusion that we're separated. It just creates the illusion. And with that, of course, creates a lot of disturbances, a lot of alcoholism, drug addiction, and loneliness, which is an epidemic, which is a big disease, because we're separated. And we're going against our true nature, because we weren't designed to be separated and not having any kind of human connection or human touch, or being in touch with the nature. And then all kinds of fears, stories that they're telling us, okay, you're going to get this disease, that disease, there's going to be war, blah, 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 and to get you more separated, more disconnected. But we're not separated. It's impossible to be separated. How can you be separated? How is that possible? How can we be separated? It's absolutely impossible. It doesn't exist. Separation does not exist. It's a non-existing phenomena that it's been ingrained in our psyche that we're separated. But it's just absolutely non-existing. It doesn't exist. It's pure illusion. I give you an example. We're all breathing the same air. The air you're breathing, what you're breathing in, is the same air that 1,000 years ago people were breathing it. 5,000 years ago people were breathing it. It's the same air that Stalin, Hitler, George W. Bush, Albert Einstein, and billions and trillions of other people have been breathing it. There's no new air coming to this planet. They're not importing air from other planets. It's the same air. It's the same water you're drinking as everybody else has been drinking it. It's the same water that people pooed, peed, puked, cooked food. It's gone through billions of different beings' digestions. And you're drinking that water. It doesn't matter where you are. There's absolutely no separation. It's absolutely non-existing. It's only an illusion. And you may be looking at like, oh wow, some people are really evil. I'm not evil. I'm a nice person. I wish well. I do my work. I help other people. I'm not evil. But there is no other people. These other people only are images. They're reflections of the oneness. It's only one that appears as many. There's no other people. It's all one. And when we talk about oneness, or when we talk about merging into the fifth dimensional consciousness, people think that all of their problems are going to disappear if they merge into this 5D consciousness. 5D consciousness is a unified field of oneness. It's all one. And what does one mean, oneness? Let's look at it for one moment, all of you. I want you to pay a little attention. What does oneness mean? One. One means all the good stuff and all the bad stuff. All of it. That's why the both hands come like this. Or this. It's all one. The good and the bad. The beautiful and the ugly. That's oneness. People think merging into a higher level of consciousness is all going to be light and angels, and that's it. All the goodies. That's not how it is. It's the understanding that they all come together. And they're all within me, and they're all within you. And you're not separated from it. And that's the beauty of it. That understanding allows you to rise beyond good and bad. There is a place that is beyond good and bad. But first you have to come to the understanding that you're both good and bad before you can go beyond that. And the shaman does. True shamans, they have that understanding of the oneness. That's why some of shamanic work around the world, if you observe it, if you study it, if you dive deep in it, it's dark. Not all shamanic work is always light. Sometimes a shaman has to do black magic to get the demon out of you. They have to use black magic. Did you know that? So not all shamanic work is going to be dali and light and blah, blah, blah. It depends on this, how skillful is the shaman. And sometimes they have to do certain kind of practice and use certain kind of skills that you may not agree to it. So sometimes they have to fight poison with poison. Shamanic work is very deep, very comprehensive, and we all have it in us. We all have shamanic abilities. We all can develop our shamanic, because shamanic work, first of all, it's not a religious practice. It has nothing to do with religion. And it's a universal practice that's been conducted by millions of different beings throughout human history. It's not limited. It's not limited to a certain kind of looks, certain kind of rituals, and certain kind of skills. It's way beyond that. And it's accessible because it's already in your genes. You already have it in you. It's just nobody ever taught us anything. Your mom, your dad, your aunt, your friend, nobody talks about it. Nobody's helping children to develop these abilities, and they mock them and make fun of them if they practice shamanic work. So, but now, somehow we were brought up here through the power of the Spirit, the grace of God, the grace of Her Majesty, Lord, the Supreme Being, because it's time for us to remember who we are. It's time for us to understand that our lives, not limited by the birth and the death of the body, we're beyond that. and we have extraordinary abilities that we can access as we're developing our skills. But of course, being in the right environment, having the right guides and teachers is going to make a big difference in our development. All right. Any questions from my friends? Let me go see. I check out these other platforms, see what's happening there. Anything here? Hi, Omid. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. I lost my. Oh, there it is. Madre Secret Spa. Hi, how are you? Cool. Anybody has any questions? Any comments? So what we decided, Baramji and I, when we designed the Tulum Mayan Shaman Retreat, was to create an environment that it's fun, it's not dry, it's playful, it's musical, it's entertaining, yet it's powerful. So if you're going to enter into some kind of powerful shamanic rituals, which we're having 5 different activations, we have a fire, water, earth, and air activation, which leads to the final one, which is a 5D activation, is a third eye activation, is that if you're going to have such deep work, then you have to counterbalance it by some fun stuff and make it colorful. So creating that environment that the shaman within can awaken and flourish. So we're going to be at the Ozen ashram, which is in the jungle near Tulum. It's a very powerful place. There's been a lot of work being done, so it's got a lot of energy to it. And also creating an environment that our participants, they don't have to worry about anything. They don't have to deal with food, transportation, anything. It's just, all you do is you're there and you just do the work. And mixing it with dancing, jumping up and down, meditation, receiving Shaktipat, energy transference, and the teachings, and also going to the sacred site, because this whole area is under the Mayans' command. The Mayans, they run the show, and the Mayan spirit is a very advanced culture that at one point they arrived at a higher level of consciousness, and the culture disappeared. They migrated. And there's a lot of ruins and pyramids in this area that they've been built, but they just didn't build these pyramids randomly. It's been very well calculated. So this area is full of shamanic spirit. It's very, very powerful. There's a very strong polarity of these energies happening there. And those of you who've never been here and are going to come and visit, you're going to experience it. Elijah's been here. Hi, Elijah. Are you there? You're awake?
I'm here, fully awake.
I'm happy to hear that. So, yeah, who else has been here? Nobody I remember right now. Yeah. So, yeah, for me, this definitely here and Sedona, to me, are the places I've been at and I lived. Of course, I went to Egypt, and that's a very strong place. It's definitely a strong vortex. Sedona is a strong vortex. We've been there, a bunch of you been there with me. But here, it's definitely got a lot of magic to it, powerful forces. And you can tell, with the wind, the water, it's shaking the entire place. It's really strong spiritual work is happening in this area, which is happening everywhere, but it's very, very strong here. Anybody has any questions? Good. So letting you know, I am planning on starting to also have some transmission and teachings on YouTube directly. I haven't decided on the dates yet, but it won't be through Zoom or Facebook. It would be just directly on YouTube. And I'm going to make an announcement. Those of you who feel like you want another boost outside of the academy and you feel like joining me, I'll be more than happy to have you accompanying me. I figure out the date, I'm going to announce it, and it's going to be a regular thing. So probably going to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or Monday, Wednesday. So, but that's coming soon. How you doing, Regina? Nice seeing you. Cool. All right. Well, let's just sit together in silence for a few moments before we end our academy. It looks like everybody's good. You don't have any questions. All is well. Let's just hang in together in a unified field. And we go from there. Very good. Well, it's very nice seeing you. Those of you who are interested in our upcoming retreat in February, you can go on my website, zarathustra.tv, or send us an email, info@zarathustra.tv. Also, this broadcast will be emailed to those of you who are members of our academy, and it will be on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and also we're broadcasting it on Instagram. Feel free to reach out. My social media pages are Zarathustra 5D, and feel free and reach out. If you have questions or want to communicate with me, the best way is to send me an email. So we'll make sure that we got your message, because on social media, it may just, we may lose it. It's possible I don't get to it. So my email is info@zarathustra.tv. If you're a YouTube subscriber, go ahead and press the button below and subscribe to my page so you get notification of any new videos coming out. It's nice to see you all. Sending you lots of love and light, and look forward to connecting with you. Our next academy is going to be next Wednesday, same time. Sending you my love.
Recording.
To our viewers on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, thank you very much for joining me. I look forward to connecting with you. Much love.